So again, one of the most overlooked aspects of the war in Ukraine is not what's happening in Ukraine. It's the United States getting the Germans to break with their neutral stance, right? Or their supposed neutrality. Again, we know that their weapons are ending up in Yemen, but officially speaking, they've had a neutral stance given everything that they did in World War II and so on. So this is significant. You know, the United States used to be one of the biggest proponents of making sure that Germany is neutral, right? That it can't do what it did in World War II again. And then now it's like the complete opposite. And Biden has actually managed to do Trump a favor, because Donald Trump, if you guys recall, was extremely angry with the Germans, right? He was saying they're not paying their bills to NATO because he wanted them to increase their military spending from 1.5% to 2% of the GDP. And as a result, because he was so angry, he pulled out like 12,000 US troops from Germany. Again, keep in mind, the US is like 38,000 US troops in Germany, right? You wouldn't be too wrong to view that as like under an occupation, right? Regardless, he pulled out those troops because of that. And Biden actually gets the Germans to do what NATO has wanted all along, what Trump has wanted all along. And now Germany has, as they wanted, raised its military spending to 2% of its GDP. Just to put that into context, Germany is now going to spend an additional 100 billion euros on its military. That's more than Russia spends in a year. That's insane, right? So again, Russia is one of the most powerful militaries in the world, certainly in terms of, you know, R&D. And now Germany is spending more than them. Can you imagine? So they've gone from neutral to balls to the wall. Yeah, it's incredible. And of course, they're sending weapons to Ukraine. This is just the start. Who knows what that leads to in the future? I don't think this is good. Just to provide you some more context, you know how Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, he's been going around all these countries and speaking to the Israeli Knesset. He spoke to the US Congress. He spoke to the Japanese. He spoke to the German Bundestag. The Austrians, who have been neutral since World War II, they refused to let him speak. Right? So Zelensky wanted to speak to the Austrian parliament. They said no. Now, to be fair, Austria is not always neutral. Just last year, when Israel was pulverizing Gaza, I mean, just really horrible. They wounded over 2,000 people, over 200 killed. The Austrians, in the Chancellery building, they raised the Israeli flag on top of the Chancellery. I mean, that's not being neutral. That is number one. I mean, that's vile that you are siding with an oppressor. Palestinians have no air force. Palestinians have no navy. In Gaza doesn't even have a goddamn defense budget. Gaza is under siege. It's a prison camp. It's the largest open air prison. The Israelis literally pick and choose what people in Gaza can even import. Can you imagine? So you have one of the most modern armies in the world, occupiers pulverizing one of the most densely populated places on earth that has no army. And then the Austrians raise the Israeli flag. That's not being neutral. Okay, so that's what it is. But usually they are officially neutral. And so just to put that into contrast with what the Germans did, who, they let Zelensky address the Bundestag. And not only that, they also start sending him weapons. The Austrians, I feel they took the most responsible approach, especially as a neutral country. Because if you say you're going to be neutral, you got to be neutral. You can't start picking and choosing, even though that's what they did last year. But this is really, again, what Germany has become now under Scholz. And Scholz hasn't been in power, what is it, a few months, right? The elections were just a few months ago. And it's really funny because this guy, he never spoke about Nord Stream 2. He never spoke about NATO. And then all of a sudden he cancels Nord Stream 2 and he raises the defense budget. Defense spending, and it's incredible. So the U.S. really got some big wins. They really got some huge wins in Germany, and I don't feel anyone's focusing on that enough. When Trump tried doing that, they were basically making fun of him. And right now, when Biden does it, yeah, great win for NATO apparently. So keep your eye on that. keep your eye on that, because these are the real stories that no one's paying attention to. But we should. And it's twice as significant because, as I said, he got the Germans to cancel Nord Stream 2, at least temporarily, but who knows how long that's going to be, right? It's indefinite. And then, of course, at the same time, increased defense spending. It's very significant.